I'm Amy Horowitz, Group Vice President at Informatica. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with two incredible leaders who are helping shape the future of data and AI. As part of our Global Data Power Women feature, we'll be diving into their leadership journeys, challenges they've overcome, and how they're driving innovation while navigating the evolving landscape of AI and data governance. I'm honored to be joined by Carla Eid, Senior Vice President of Data and AI Architecture and Governance at PepsiCo, along with Jennifer Mezzio, Global Data Officer at First Citizens Bank. Thank you both for being here, the work you're doing, and leading the way and inspiring across the industry. Let's jump in. So, Carla, I'm going to start with you. Can you share a bit about your background and your current role, and really what brought you to data leadership?
Yes, so thanks, Amy, for having us. I've spent nearly 3 decades at PepsiCo with a career that spanned regional and global roles across Asia, Middle East, and Africa and beyond. My journey began in IT, where I led solution delivery for go-to-market SAP data and BI systems in the EMEA sector. That hands-on experience gave me deep business process knowledge and first-hand insights into how high-quality data and data governance are the fundamental enablers for successful solutions. Later, I transitioned into global roles in information architecture and enterprise architecture, which expanded my technical depth and strategic thinking. Here, I realized the fundamental importance of data architecture. These 2 phases of my career shaped my passion for data and were the catalysts that brought me to my current role. So today, as SVP of Data and AI Architecture and Governance, I focus on defining data and AI strategy, driving governed high-quality data, responsible AI, and scalable data and AI architecture that enable innovation and transformation across the enterprise.
Amazing. So, Jennifer, same question to you. Carla, thank you for that. Can you share a bit about your background? How, in your current role, how did you get here? What brought you to data leadership? I'd love to hear from you.
Sure. So I started about 25 years ago, continued my evolution in the IT landscape. Started as a business systems analyst in companies such as Travelers and The Hartford, and evolved into the data officer role over at Silicon Valley Bank and now for Citizens Bank. I've been in this data landscape for quite some time, and in that landscape, it's kind of exciting to see data evolve. So, seeing data go from everything from the COBOL screens to retiring ReportNet, building Cognos, right, dashboards, and now we're going off to AI. And so I've been fortunate enough to kind of play in that space for all of this time, and it's allowed me to be a more thoughtful leader and approach data in a way that I think helps us to build for the future.
So, Jen, while I have you, can you talk a little bit about your experiences early in your career? What influenced your data leadership approach?
Yeah, so I was very fortunate to work alongside a lot of really talented individuals. Back, when these roles first developed, data officers, head of data, I mean, it's nothing new. We've had those roles for so many years now. I think the titles are fairly new, but the roles aren't. And so we've been fortunate enough to work alongside folks, our IT professionals, developers, MBAs who help to shape that role. A lot of great leaders, a lot of great leadership, and a lot of mentorship along the way. I think the one thing that sticks out to me the most is a project I worked on at MetLife, where I was the BA, and getting into the data space, I had to hand calculate a long-term care policy and all of the algorithm behind it so that I could write the specifications and the data analysis for it. And I think doing something like that as a data leader gives you an appreciation for something that is so complex that we as data leaders, I think, make look like magic or maybe simpler than it actually is.
Right. What a great way to start. So, Carla, same question to you. What experiences have you had early in your career that have really shaped and influenced your leadership approach with data?
Yeah, so early in my career, leading IT solution delivery was a formative experience. It was here on the ground that I saw how poor data quality and a lack of governance can completely undermine a project success. So we could have the best technology, but if the data feeding it was bad, the solution would fail. So this experience cemented my leadership belief that you must prioritize a strong data foundation and governance before you can truly innovate with technology.
Amazing. Carla, let's stick with you for a second. So how has your perspective on data evolved over time? You've had a great career. You've seen a lot of growth. How has your perspective changed?
Yeah, definitely. So my perspective has evolved from a tactical to a strategic view. Early on, I saw data as a requirement for specific projects, something you needed to make a new system or report work. However, as I moved into information and enterprise architecture, my view broadened dramatically. I realized that data is the key to unlock enterprise-wide transformation. It's not just about a single solution. It's about building a scalable and cohesive data architecture that enables innovation across the entire business by enabling data reuse, consistency, and faster time to market.
So when I think ecosystem, that's exactly what I think about. Thank you for sharing. Jen, over to you. Same question. How has your perspective on data evolved over time?
Being in the data space for as long as I have has really given me that appreciation for just how vast data is and how far of a reach data can have. And so, when we look at something like AI, it is the new thing to have, right? But without that solid foundation that I was able to work on for all of these years and fully understand, it really just AI becomes that tool that is the unknown. Being able to see data evolve in its landscape and work on the different projects that I've worked on, it gives me the appreciation of what we need to do from a governance, scalability, and cleanliness perspective to ensure that we are building a solid foundation for our AI systems to run on.
Amazing. Okay, so we've talked about the great way you both started in your career, how your perspective has changed. Now let's talk a little bit about challenges. So Carla, I'm going to come back to you for the first one. What kinds of challenges or barriers have come up as you've been advancing your AI strategies? And more importantly, how have you approached overcoming these barriers?
Yeah, I would say a primary challenge we're seeing is achieving AI-ready data. This isn't just about having data, it's about ensuring it's high quality, well-connected, and context-enriched with metadata. Without this foundation, AI models and agents can produce unreliable answers or hallucinate, undermining trust and business value. So to overcome this, we've been very proactive and working on defining a strategy to build a semantic knowledge layer to turn enterprise data into AI-ready knowledge. This will ensure that our AI agents have access to a single source of truth, significantly improving their reliability and reducing the risk of generating false information.
So I'm going to stick with you on this one. This is really important. I think a lot of folks out there are running into the same barriers. What challenge surprised you the most, Carla?
Besides, the technical challenges, the effort, I would want to call out that the effort needed to drive the right culture is often underestimated. At a company like PepsiCo, there are endless opportunities to deploy AI. However, our strategy depends on prioritizing those initiatives that will generate the most value, and at the same time ensuring that we are managing risk to protect the business. So to get this right, it's not just about building processes and protocols, but by spending time educating and talking to stakeholders so they can see how responsible AI applies to them. This change doesn't happen overnight.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much, Jen. Same question to you. So we talked about your career, how you got here, what you've seen in the industry today. What challenges have you faced? What barriers have come up in advancing your AI strategy? And more importantly, how did you approach overcoming them?
Yeah, I think some of the major challenges that not only I see in my space, but I see across all industries is the change management aspect of data. Individuals will bring in the solution in which they are mature for at that time as an organization. So when we're looking at bringing in any AI solution, it's always best to understand the maturity of that company, that function, that organization at that time, so that we can better set them up for success. How I've overcome it really is meeting folks where they're at. It's meeting people where they're at. It's hearing their challenges. It's understanding their data. Bringing in AI again, it's been the big thing for the past, 3 or 4 years, and everyone wants to do it. But I'm going to be honest, I haven't seen many companies that are really knocking it out of the park. And it tells me that we continuously still have challenges in our foundation of that clean, solid data structure in which we need to build these AI models off of.
So is there a challenge that surprised you the most, Jen?
I think the challenge that surprises me the most is, and again, this isn't company or industry specific, it really is just the lack of focus and attention on the actual cleanup of the data. Yep. For us as professionals, it seems like it's just a given that we need to have these solid, clean foundations. But we do that as a day job. What we're asking individuals in the business, we're asking individuals across across our companies to step in and try to understand their data, try to analyze their data with us so that we can get that clean solution, that governed data, and build these AI models off of that.
Thank you so much. So, Carla, I'm going to go back to you for this second part of this question. So you talked about the opportunities at PepsiCo with AI and where your organization is going. How do you address issues related to data quality and organizational readiness? You mentioned the cultural shift. How do you get PepsiCo, a company that size, ready for this?
So with regards to data quality first, our approach is both proactive and strategic. So basically, we perform thorough data assessment early in the project lifecycle to uncover gaps and inconsistencies and drive remediation all the way back to the source system. So this is not just about cleansing the data in the source system, but driving process changes so that the data fixes are sustainable. That's on the data quality side. On the organization readiness, we're focusing on building AI literacy across all levels of the organization to foster shared language and confidence in applying AI, and basically equipping all the teams to responsibly adopt, scale, and trust AI as a core part of how the business operates.
Great. Thank you, Jen. Same question to you. So how do you mentioned the opportunities at your organization. How do you handle this? What do you see as, how do you address the issues related to data quality and, more importantly, organizational readiness?
Yeah, I think Carla hit it spot on, right? And it's nothing different I think I do at my organization. The data quality has to start at the source. We really do have to address the issues where they begin so that we don't have that broken lineage throughout the organization. And again, garbage in, garbage out, right? We all know that one. But it's also that data literacy piece, which I'm so glad that she mentioned, because it is fundamental for success that we ensure that our organization, our enterprise, our business functions really truly understand what data is, why quality is important, and why we come knocking on their door, tasking them shamelessly to assist us in our journey to make sure that our reporting, our analytics, and especially our AI are functioning the best they can and they're off of clean, governed data.
Thank you to our Global Data Power Women honorees for sharing their insights today. For more information and interviews and stories, please visit cdomagazine.tech.